Hi, I'm Mort Burke. As you will soon see, this was a well-organized event. Here's where you ordered and got your ice cream.
Careful, kid. Be brave and finish helping this lady. All items today are all items today are
There's Ginny Richmond, president of the Historical Museum. She's inviting us into the Eden Woolley house. This room is called the West Gallery. This room is called Our Town. And this room is called Hearth and Home.
for those of you who weren't, an amazing amount of work has been done in the past year. I mean, last year there was nothing in here. So really absorb it for those of you who are seeing it for the first time. It's an amazing, amazing piece of work. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the house itself, how it was built, where it was originally built, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to just start my spiel. Behind me is a beautiful replica of the house. This house, or this model, was made by a guy named Frank West, who is a descendant of the Woolley family, actually. Read about the restoration of the house in the newspaper and offered to create this exact replica of the house. He is a master craftsman, and if you have some time on your way out, make sure you take a look at it. It's really, really amazing. It is exact as the house was and is now. There are 5,600 handmade shingles on this roof, which took more time to put on the model than they did when putting on the new roof on the house. Okay, the house was in 1747 by my great uncle, and then the second part of the house in that Dutch colonial style, which was popular at the time because, of course, New Amsterdam was New York, so Dutch culture was pretty popular. In the 1800s, early 1800s, the first edition, which is the biggest part of the house, was put on. And that's when I lived in here. The exact dates of when that began is a little sketchy. Putting together history is kind of like putting together a puzzle with 8,000 pieces missing. So we think somewhere in the early part of the 1800s, maybe started by my uncle who built this original part of the house. I'm quite sure. The third part of the house was built in the 1920s, which is just this little section here, which is a modern kitchen, built by the first family that was not of the Woolley generation. They sold it in 1926. Okay, let me tell you some stuff about me. In 1835, I moved into this house. I bought the house from my cousin and lived here until 1892, and I died right here in this house, and I miraculously came back to life to be here. Okay, I'm real. Okay. And the house is named after me. Now you may ask, why do I get that privilege? Why is this museum named after me? Well, I was lucky enough to be a big part of early Ocean Township history. Originally, the large part of the Jersey Shore is known as the Township of Shrewsbury, named after the Shrewsbury in England, of course. And in 1849, the state legislature decided to break up the Township of Shrewsbury and created the Township of Ocean, which was, at the time, the southern part of what is now Seabright, down to Shark River Inlet down south, which would include Eatontown, Tinton Falls, and Neptune. And we were a part of sort of creating this brand new township. And I was one of 5 men elected to the first governing branch of Ocean Township. So that is why I get the privilege of having the house named after me. Okay. As many of you know, this house was not originally built on this site. I'm sure you know that it was built on the corner of what is now Highway 35 and Deal Road. And a couple of years ago, that was bought by a developer and was slated to be demolished and some other stuff being built there. The developer gave the house to the township, said you can have it and we'll move it for you. You just have to find a place for us to put it, and you're in charge of restoring it. So through the magic of a lot of people's very hard work, they did find a place for it right here. So they picked the house up and moved it 1,100 feet from its original foundation. And if you were around at the time, I'm sure you saw that all the trees got chopped down. And if you follow along here on your way out, you can actually see the house getting picked up and moved to where it now stands. All right, and that is the history of the house. And if you'd like to know some more about the architecture of the house, here's some specific displays that can kind of give you a really cool idea of how the house was built. I think we take for granted power tools and all of that kind of thing. This house was built by hand. And you can see in some of the pieces of the timber framing and so on and so forth, just how that was chiseled away by hand. It's an amazing feat in 1747, which is pretty great.
You have any questions for Eden?
Yeah.
Mr. Woolley, when the house was being moved, were you inside it? Or
Oh no, I was.
Well, that's disputable. I mean, nobody saw.
Tell us what you had in mind for us that day.
So now, where were you when the fire started?
Well, when the captain's death was announced, everyone was stunned. Of course, the gala ball was canceled and we were left to entertain ourselves. Laura and I had already planned to stay up all night and watch as the ship returned to New York Harbor at dawn. So we had a couple drinks and decided to visit Rosario Felipe, our elegant cabin on 8. She had come aboard at Cuba and we had chatted briefly on the promenade. So we talked a couple hours, helped her pack, and sang our goodbyes and stepped out to the mezzanine. A flash of light caught my eye, and down below, we'd see that the writing room was on fire. Several men were running around throwing buckets of water on the flames, but it was no use. The fire was spreading fast. I called down to the men, asking if they were going to alert the passengers, and they said, no, don't alarm the passengers. But when the fire spread to the lounge, Laura and I took off for our cabin. Along the way, we banged on as many doors as we could to try to wake people up. We grabbed our life jackets and some of our things and ran out to the rear deck.
What was the scene like there? I mean, for example, did anyone sound an alarm?
We finally heard an alarm around 3 in the morning. The scene was complete chaos. People barely dressed, screaming, crying. Some were running around in circles. We kept waiting for someone in charge to tell us what to do, but no one did. The fire was in the middle of the ship, so we couldn't get to the lifeboats. We were choking from the smoke, and the flames were coming closer. Suddenly, someone yelled, "Jump!" and people began leaping off the stern, some holding hands. But they didn't realize that the propellers were still going. It was horrible. Finally, the propeller stopped. Lori and I kicked off our shoes, and we jumped into the ocean. It was either that or get burned to death. But we didn't know we had our life jackets on wrong, and we were knocked out when we hit the water.
And how long was it until you were rescued?
Oh, hours. The night seemed endless. We kept swallowing seawater and trying to vomit it back up as best we could. The waves made us seasick, and it was so cold. A couple of times we saw lifeboats, but they didn't stop to pick us up. I guess they couldn't see or hear us because of the storm. Gloria held on as long as she could, and I was about to give up as well, until a plane flew overhead. They were flying really low, and the man was smiling and waving to people in the water. He was pointing out survivors to the rescue ship.
That was going to warn you now.
Yes, it was like seeing an angel. And soon after, the fishing boat saved me. I begged him to take my friend too, but the captain said they only had room for the living. I passed out and woke up in the fire station in Spring Lake.
I see you brought something to show me.
Yes, it's a dress I was wearing that night. It was for the last dance. I had bought it when times were good. I don't know why I'm so there.
Well, Ms. Van Blunt, we're glad that you're fine, and we'd like to thank the many rescuers who helped the survivors. And now we have to break for station identification.
Perhaps moths will crawl into bed sheets, but there's something else that is much, much smaller and much more itchy that crawls into bed sheets. I have bed bugs. You know, we will not have any bed bugs here. So, thank goodness. But we are preparing for a great, I think we're going to have a very good harvest this year. We have rye growing out in the fields and wheat. And I don't know if you saw our prize Guernsey cows outside, but they're going to be going to market soon. They're a pride of our family. So we're very happy to have them and to raise them. This has been a very good year for us. So the planting went very well here, and as you can see, it's a small but modest home here that we have, but I'm very proud of it. I have many things here to be so proud of. I have usually especially when you go to home and you see that this bar here that holds my kettle, sometimes those who have less means will have a wooden bar. But you know that we have quite a bit of means by having an iron bar. I'm very proud of that. Now, do you like to cook? You don't? Then how does your family eat? Your father cooks. Seems a novel idea. But do you like breakfast? You like to have breakfast. What do you like to have breakfast? You like eggs? Oh, we have many fine chickens here. We have many eggs, fresh eggs in the morning. Sometimes we sell our eggs to our neighbours, so they have fresh eggs as well. Do you like something called griddle cakes? No? It's a round cake, and you could put dressing and syrup on it. It could be like pancakes. I don't know what pancakes are.
We call them pancakes.
We do have, I did hear a name called waffle. You like waffles? Maybe you like waffles.
Yes.
You like waffles? How about you help me for a moment? And stand up. I have here a special tool to make waffles with. See? That is called a waffle iron. Now, are you strong? You must be if you do the chores. Hold this. That's strong. But you do like waffles, do you?
Yes.
All right. And put this over my hearth. Over my hearth. What's a hearth? What's a hearth? That's where you cook. That's where you cook and you keep warm. Especially when we bring our beds out here at night. Or we used to bring our beds out at night. When my husband first built this house, starting in 1746, we would sleep here in this room. All of us. All of us. I and my 2 children and he and his 11.
Oh dear.
Oh dear! But you don't have at least 9.
Just one.
Just one. I hope they survive the next round of influenza.
Me too.
So, and you don't know who's going to survive past 3 years old in this day and age. You don't know who's going to survive past 1 in infancy. So I'm glad that you're still around to help me make waffles. So, in order to make waffles, hold it over the fire.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Make sure the batter does not come out and hold it for 10 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. Please give the miss a round of applause. So, do you have any questions for me? Anyone?
Are you Dutch or English?
Pardon?
Are you English or Dutch?
I am American, madam.
Oh, you are?
It is the 1780s. So the awful revolution.
You were born here?
Is over. I was born here. I was born in Middletown.
Oh,
I
good.
grew up in a place called Burgess Point. My maiden name is Burge. Yet I was married to a doctor of physics from New York named Caleb Brown. Unfortunately, he passed away many years ago, and I married my husband, Thomas. And Thomas had been married 2 times earlier before me. He had lost 2 wives, and I am
Yes,
his
so-
3rd and hopefully final wife. So, any more questions? No. Well, thank you very much for coming today. And I believe
Excuse me, what is that?
What is that? Well, don't you know what it is?
No.
Oh, well, I've heard it's a Scottish name, a Gaelic name. Please enjoy your aces outside. And please do not chase the chickens. I wish I had fresh eggs tomorrow morning.
Thank
not
you
rotten
so
eggs.
much, Phoebe.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.